Alrighty, you are looking live. It's sold out MetLife Stadium, where today the 16-0 and playoff bound New York Giants are taking on the 0-16 Dallas Cowboys. Why are the Dallas Cowboys 0-16? Because they suck. Welcome to the Gridiron. Anybody out there at all is going to spend a little bit of time with me here this evening, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you. Or if anybody's going to spend any time watching the replay of this, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Going to try to go about 30 minutes here tonight, shoot my mouth off for about 30 minutes. Anybody got anything to say, please feel free, fire away, throw it in the chat box. I usually check on the chat box like every 5 or 10 minutes or so. So it means as soon as I see something in there, I try to respond to as fast as I can. So please feel free, fire away. Plus, instead of me talking, rambling off like, 30 minutes, it's nice to talk to another Giant fan. So please feel free, just fire away. Okay. Before I get started, if anybody wants to help support my channel out, it would mean the world to me. It would mean so much to me. In the description box below, there's a top link. It takes you to my membership page. I got 3 different membership levels. The first one's called the Saquon. Second one's called the Lawrence Taylor. And the third membership level is called the Gridiron. Each one's got their own little perks to them. So if you want to help support my channel out, it means so much to me. And I thank you in advance. If you are subscribed to my channel, thank you so much. Thank you. If not, please go down below. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon. That way, next time I go live or put a video out, you'll be notified. And it's free of charge. So what do you got to lose? But if you are subscribed to my channel, thank you. And then finally, in the description box below, there's 2 Facebook links. Oh, not my dog's here. Good old Randy. Randy's here. Usually as soon as I start talking, he I guess I should just move this chair. Hold on, buddy. Hold on. Up. All right, there we go. I got to move the chair out of his way so we can get underneath the table. It's crazy. So in the description box below, there's 2 Facebook links. Okay, the top Facebook link takes you to my my Facebook group. It's called the New York Giants of Gridiron. I say this in every video. YouTube channel, Facebook group, Facebook page is all called the same thing. It's all called New York Giants the Gridiron. Right? That way, a moron like me, I can remember. What's my page called? The group called something different. And, it's all called the same thing. So I don't have to worry. I try to really remember anything. What the heck have we got here? We have we still have over 3,300 members. Right? Sometimes every week or so it jumps up a little bit, but we're holding strong at over 3,300 members. Usually as soon as I'm done going live here, I'll spend a couple hours just putting stuff in the group and in the page, which I'll go over in a minute. And I try to get up to 10 different things if I can. Okay. Sometimes in the off season, it's a little difficult to find a bunch of things, but I try if I can. I get at least up to 10, if not more sometimes. Whether it's something just showing some stats, a post, a picture, some video, something making fun of the Cowboys or the Eagles, which are my personal favorites. Okay. So I get that in there every day. But if you become a member, not only do I put stuff in there, but members post in here as well, too. Okay. So if you go there and you become a member, you get a ton of New York Giants, information every day. And then also the second Facebook link, okay, takes you to my Facebook page. Okay. It's called New York Giants the Gridiron, but it's a page. I'm the administrator. I'm the only one to post in here. What do we got? We got over 1,300 people who like it. And was it a couple of days ago, we reached the 5,000 follower mark. So we're really doing good on this. The page is really doing good. Huh? Woo! I freaking love it. Absolutely love it. But it's the same thing here. Okay. It's, I try to get as much stuff in as I can, up to 10 things, if not more. I said, whether it's a post, picture, video, whatever. I said, some of my personal favorites is something making fun of the Eagles or the Cowboys. And I don't commingle them. So basically, for the most part, whatever I put in the page, I don't put in the group. And whatever I put in the group, I don't put in the page. And I say, unless there's something really just makes fun of the Eagles and it just makes me piss my pants laughing, then I just got to share it with everybody. That's what I wake up for. And that's what I live for. That's why I take every breath I take, just to make fun of the Philadelphia Eagles. So if I can just share the love with the rest of the Giant fans, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to spread it everywhere. Okay. But if you go to the, they say if you go to the page and you like it and you follow it, and you go to the group and you become a member, you get a ton of New York Giants information every day. And like I say all the time, right? If you go there, if you like it and you follow the page and you go to the group and you become a member, if you're not 100% satisfied, you get your money back guaranteed. All right, well, all that stuff said and done and out of the way with. OTA started today, but I mean, it's there's no contact, there's no pads. I mean, listen to some stuff like Big Blue Kickoff Live. Those guys are very knowledgeable. I'm such a freaking moron. That one guy, Paul Dottino, I think that's his name. He's been with the Giants since, I think he said 83. So he's been with the Giants for 40 years. He's there on the field talking to the guys. I mean, so let me tell you, this guy, he brings up stuff from, 1980. He's like 1987. There was one time OTAs were walking off the field. One of the players for the Giants, his shoelace was untied, and he bent over, and over his shoulder, you saw Sean Landetta kick a ball, and went like, I mean, his stories he comes up that was just unbelievable. I mean, he's got he's like an encyclopedia full of knowledge and going back 40 years. All right, so. I mean, they know their stuff. They got podcasts. It's Big Blue Kickoff Live. Patricia Trainer, she has a podcast. I listen to her pretty much every day. They're like Monday through Friday, so I try to get a bunch of stuff. But I was listening to their Big Blue Kickoff Live, and they said, obviously today was the first day. There's no contact allowed. You know what I mean? So there's no blocking, but there's no pads. I mean, but I mean, when you get 7-on-7s, there's no holding the guys up at the line of scrimmage or anything, so it's good and bad. I mean, the defender obviously has a disadvantage. Okay. However, if you're a defender and you can't, I mean, that's kind of, the way they throw flags in the NFL, it's like roughing the passer, like a bit like Sexy Dexy. He got a couple roughing the passers called on him last year. I'm still like scratching my head, like, what, we're not allowed to touch the quarterbacks anymore, But I mean, something like this with 7-on-7, if you do well, and and you can't touch the wide receiver, that's pretty good. What they were talking about, there's a couple articles I see here. I'm just going to go over, but they were talking about Darren Waller looked really good. Really good. Okay. Once again, it's just early. It's just in pad. I know there's no pads, there's no contact, nothing like that, but he really, really looked good. It was also Paul Dottino. He was there. He said he's like Nick McCloud. In one of these articles I got, they said Nick McCloud broke up like 2 passes, I think. But Paul Dottino seems to think that Nick McCloud had at least 3, and he was thinking possibly maybe even 4 pass breakups Nick McCloud had. I mean, that's pretty impressive. I mean, obviously they said he gave up some touchdowns in the red zone and all that. And I mean, when you can't touch a wide receiver or nothing like that, things like that are going to happen. But he seemed to think that he had quite a few breakups. Now, obviously, this is not something to get over the moon about, because I remember last year, I maybe the start of training camp, maybe it was like there was a stretch. It was the first 3 days, or it was a stretch of just 3 days. Maybe it was day 3, 4, and 5, something like whatever it was. Like I think it was Darnay Holmes had like interceptions like 3 days in a row, and we're like, whoa, here we go, baby. All right, okay, Darnay's gonna raises. I mean, not that he was horrible, but I mean, it was, when you got 3 days in a row, and they're talking about you getting interceptions, but I mean, it was nice to hear Nick McCloud had a good game. They were talking about John Michael Schmitz with this dead ball snap, and they were kind of saying, like, with the dead ball snap, he's kind of like, you might even have a hard time. It's like if you're in the stands or something, you might even have a hard time seeing, if it's not that noticeable. If you're down, obviously, on the field a little bit closer, maybe you can kind of notice it. But apparently there weren't any snap issues or anything. Colin Johnson was out there. Cool. I'm all fired up for that, because is he 6'5", I believe he is. I mean, good. I mean, the one nice thing about, unfortunately, is about getting injured in training camp or, in the summer is that, you got a good shot at being ready for next training camp. So, unfortunately, that's what I mean with what we got. McKeithen last year, right? Never made it to the regular season. Beavers never made it to the regular season. Colin Johnson was the Achilles, I believe it was, never made it to the regular season. So those guys, knock on wood, hopefully should be good to go by this regular season, right? I mean, it's the guys like Wan'Dale Robinson. I think it was week 11. It was week 11. It was week 11. I think is maybe when it was. That's when he got injured, But Sterling Shepard, he got injured early, so hopefully, But they're also saying Wan'Dale Robinson and Sterling Shepard might start the season maybe on the PUP list. We'll have to wait and see. But I saw some. I got these from Giants.com. Spring heats up with the OTA sessions. Everything you need to know about the OTAs. Okay, it's phase 3 of the Giants offseason programs as OTAs officially begin at the Quest Diagnostic Center. While live contact is not permitted, they're allowed to partake in 7-on-7s, 11-on-11s, and then there's also 9-on. I don't think they said there were 9-on-7 drills today, but they can do 7-on-7s and 11-on-11s. Let's see. It says the calendar, okay, for the rest of the OTAs is May 22nd to 23rd. Then they have the 25th, May 3rd, 30th, and 31st, and June 2nd, June 5th and 6th, June 8th and 9th. So those are the 10 OTAs off-season workouts. Now, last year, okay, because I believe it was, I think it says in this article, but because last year, when you're a new coach, new coaching staff and all, you're allowed, it says in the article, I think 1 or 2 extra OTAs or so because you're new. But since obviously Coach Dable is still around, and hopefully he'll be around for a long time, basically they have the 10. Okay. I think the reporters and all are allowed there's like one in the end of this week that they're allowed, like Thursday. I think it's Thursday when the reporters will be there. Let's see. Now, also another thing which is huge here is that, this is still voluntary. Okay. So, keep that in mind. Okay. So like when what I think it's Thursday. I think that's when the reporters are there, and then you start reading stuff online like so and so wasn't there, and this guy wasn't there, and it's still voluntary. But if you're not Andrew Tom, Daniel Jones got to be there and all. But I'm saying if for whatever reason, if you're a star, you're not there. Okay, but I mean if you're like a Zion Gilbert, Nick McCloud, guys like that, you choose not to be there. Okay. Okay. Good luck. You know what I mean? So you really should be there. It says phase 1 consists of the first 2 weeks of the program, which activities are limited, meetings, strength and conditioning, and physical rehabilitation only. Phase 2 consists of the next 3 weeks of the program. On-field workouts may include individual or group instructions and drills. Okay, so now it's phase 3. Okay, phase 3 consists of the next 4 weeks of the program. Teams may conduct a total of 10 days. So we're in phase 3 is day 1 of phase 3. Okay. No live contact is permitted, but they got 7-on-7, 9-on-7, and 11-on-11 drills are permitted. Okay. Let's see here. New coaches, here it is. Okay, are entitled to conduct an additional voluntary veteran mini camp. Okay. Any voluntary mini camp for veteran players must be conducted prior to the draft. Interesting. So Dennis, or we got, okay, so here we got some Let's see here. A number of different players scored punts early in the practice. Okay, now I got a little kick out of this. Now it is what it is, but Adoree Jackson was catching punts. It is what it is. I mean, of course it's going to be, well, why'd you didn't know he was going to get hurt? Of course you knew Adoree Jackson was going to get hurt returning punts. I think if Brian Dable knew that, I think he probably wouldn't have had a backup. But remember, there was a few times where we had Odell Beckham Jr. back there catching punts. I don't ever remember him really. I don't think he took one back to the house or not. But hey, get the ball in the guy's hands. But I don't think he ever got hurt returning the punt. It is what it is. Obviously, you'd rather not have him back there. But I mean, that's why you like maybe a Jeff Smith or somebody like that. That's but. Say Darnay Holmes, interesting. Jamison Crowder, okay, called Jalen Hyatt. They were talking about that. Darius Slayton and Jaden Mickens were back there catching punts. Wide receiver Colin Johnson was on the field after he tore his Achilles tendons toward the end of training camp. He caught a touchdown pass during the 7-on-7 red zone drills, which is huge. I mean, because now we got, if he makes the team, and because I said we don't have the number one stud wide receiver, but we have a nice, and the way that the Giants last year schemed a lot of guys open, and I said now we added some speed, right? We have a nice wide receiver. So I mean, there's no lock that Colin Johnson is going to make the team, but he was doing pretty good last year. He was doing from all counts in the spring training or the training camp and all. He was doing pretty good. So, and he's got the height too. So, let's see here. The only competitive offensive drills on day one were 7-on-7 drills in the red zone. Okay. They always start with red zone drills since players do not open up to full sprints, okay, for long periods of time, which that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Which can help prevent injuries, which the Giants, yeah. Let's yeah. And all nice thing is the stuff I'm reading and all that. I mean, you wait like at the bottom of the line with like an asterisk next to it or so and so is carted off the field, is not known what his injury. So I didn't read any of that. Thank you, Jesus. Right. So, but yeah, let's put. Oh my God, let's prevent the injuries. Tight end Darren Waller was busy today. He was a frequent target in the red zone. Yes. And came down with 2 touchdown passes. Paul Dottino said, I think one of them he was talking about was like a one-handed grab. He just came up and, man, it's nice to get excited, isn't it? I mean, it certainly doesn't mean, I hope we are going to the Super Bowl, but I mean, to try to tamper everything down. But it's nice to, it seems like, we got a good, nice foundation last year. We're adding a little bit to it, right? Hopefully we can keep adding as the seasons go by a little bit more and more and more. You know what I mean? So it seems like there's more to get excited about, so far this year than, obviously last year. It's just, what are the injuries going to be? It's a tougher schedule. We have, after we play our first home game, okay, then 7 of the next 10 are on the road. Okay. But if you got first 7 out of the first 11 games are on the road, it's a tough schedule. A lot of tough games. What it was obviously it's a lot harder this year than it was last year. So, I mean, if the Giants, go 10-7, harder schedule, so, but we'll have to want to wait and see. But I mean, it does seem like there's a lot to get excited about here though. Came down with 2 touchdown passes on balls over the shoulder towards the sideline. Okay. He might have had a third on a catch in front of the defender, but it was unclear whether the ball was outside the goal line. Okay. The other tight ends were targeted in the red zone as well. Daniel Bellinger has a pair of touchdown catches, and converted tight end Dre Miller also had a touchdown catch. Okay. Rookie. Okay. Javarius Owens. Okay. Our last pick deflected a pass in the end. Oh, this was apparently the only turnover out of the whole day. It was Javarius Owens tipped to the pass, and good old, I like this, huh? Check this out, right? You like this about Tolman Fox. Well, I can't remember what the heck. It was one of the preseason games last year. He was it against the Patriots? I think it was the end of the game or something. They were trying to get out of bounds or something, and he was on the sideline. He was protecting against the sideline. I can't remember if it was against the Patriots or not, but it was the guy caught the ball. Tolman came freaking up like a rocket and just drilled the dude. It kept him in bounds and all and everything. But Tolman Fox, the edge rusher, came down with the only deflected pass. It said Javarius Jones deflected a pass in the end zone that popped up in the air and landed in the hands of edge rusher Tolman Fox for the lone takeaway on the day. Okay, Nick McCloud. See here, it says Nick McCloud had a pair of pass deflections to prevent touchdown passes to tight ends, with one coming against Darren Waller near the sideline. But Paul Dottino, he seemed to think that there was at least three, and he said if you listen to his podcast, it's early. Big Blue Kickoff Live. Okay, those guys, they know they're on the ins. They know. Paul Dottino said it was three, possibly maybe even four that Nick McCloud had. What we got, Terrence? Wonder what all the doubters will say when we outdo their low. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I always love that. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. But it seems like it's like everything. It's like it's not only the players, but it's the coaching staff as well too. You know what I mean? That's Kafka, right? And Dable, and and Wink Martindale. If you listen to that Big Blue Kickoff Live, the one from today, the podcast, Paul Dottino was going over a bunch of the stuff that the Giants had, like as far as like pass rushing, as far as quarterback hits and sacks and all that. Now, sacks, we only had 41, so we were like middle of the pack. But as far as like quarterback hits and all and everything, we were Giants were up there. And he was saying Wink Martindale, what he looks at, okay, is like pressures, hits, and sacks. He gets that number all together. Now, obviously, the sacks are the sexy thing because that puts a finality to the play. But a sack can also be what Kayvon Thibodeau did against the Commanders last year. You get the sack, you get the fumble, possibly you get the recovery and all and everything. But with Wink Martindale, that's what he looks at all of those, the pressures, the hits, and the sacks. But the Giants did pretty well last year. It's just that a sack total wasn't, it's at 41. So that's 2.5 a game. So basically, pretty much that average right around there. It's like every 2 games we had 5 sacks. So, it's middle of the pack. Especially now you got 17 games. You like that to be. If you can get up around 50, that's now you're starting to get in the upper echelon there. Of course, the Eagles had 70. Whew. Unbelievable. Deonte Banks had a pass breakup. I think they were talking about that. That was against Darius Slayton. I think Darius Slayton was in the end zone, had the ball. I think Deonte Banks knocked the ball out of his hands. Okay. It says all 3 quarterbacks showed off their legs a couple of plays by moving in the pocket to find receivers for touchdowns. Darius Slayton, Jalen Hyatt on a nice hands catch on pass slightly towed behind him, and David Sills all had touchdowns. David Sills is still hanging around. Let's see. I got this. What do we got here? Okay. They got another one there. This is Giants.com. The Giants made one of the biggest trades in the offseason, acquired tight end, obviously, Darren Waller. It was part of an offseason plan. Okay. Monday was the first glimpse of that. Waller wearing number 12. Okay. Started 7-on-7 with 2 red zone touchdowns from Jones. Waller used all of his 6'6" frame to elevate on the second touchdown. On the second, Jones and Waller hooked up for a third score later on, also from close range, as the Giants practiced most of their live reps well inside the 20. Okay, which is obviously because everything shrinks down there, and when you're going up against the talent there is in the NFL, you start shrinking the field. It is tough. You think just because we're at the 8-yard line, just hit the dude 8 yards in, and come on, let's get the talent these guys have is just absolutely phenomenal. I'm meaning on offense and defense, but I'm just saying defense. And, you start shrinking the field, it is tough. Just because the guy is a lot closer to you doesn't make it any easier in the red zone. Says Waller wasn't the only tight end to get involved. Second year, Daniel Bellinger sporting the black shield Okay, so hopefully this year we won't get no broken eye sockets. Okay. Caught 2 touchdown passes from Jones during full team workout in the red zone. Dre Miller also caught a pair from undrafted rookie Tommy DeVito. Cool. Backup quarterback Tyrod Taylor got on the board, throwing 2 touchdowns to Jamison Crowder. Good. And another to Colin Johnson. Good. I want to keep hearing Colin Johnson's name. That good. Crowder's only 5'9", 177. So, yeah. So, I mean, he's going to be one of those guys, trying to, I guess, make some living, I guess, in the slot, I guess. He played in exactly 100 regular season games with 51 starts for Buffalo, the Jets, and the Commanders, who originally selected him in the 6th round. His career numbers, he has 415 receptions, 4,667 yards, 11.2 yards per catch, and 28 touchdowns. He also threw a touchdown pass. Crowder is a seasoned specialist. He returned 95 punts for 775 yards, including an 85-yard touchdown. Crowder played in just 4 games last year in his lone campaign with the Bills before suffering a season-ending ankle injury. Meanwhile, it's a positive step for Johnson, who tore his Achilles tendon in training camp and missed all of last season. Yeah, God, I hate that, man. Hate that. Especially for these young guys that are trying to make their way onto the roster and all of that, and especially when they're doing really, really good and you're really pulling for them. It's such a shame. Darius Slayton found the end zone on a pass from Jones, who was a big reason why the wide receiver re-signed this offseason. Ultimately, I think the best football decision for me was being back here with Daniel and continuing to grow with him and Kafka's offense, Slayton said. Slayton added, would have been kind of crazy to leave after somewhat building all of these bricks. Yeah, but I'm glad he's back. Rookie wide receiver Jaylen Hyatt, a 3rd-round pick from Tennessee, found the end zone on 7-on-7 drills late in first OTA. So did wide receiver David Sills on a pass from Jones. The lone takeaway was the tip ball. Okay, more top plays with extensive work close to the goal line. Every pass deflection was a potential touchdown saver. Absolutely. The defensive backs who got on the board in that category included Deontay Banks, Cordell Flott, good. Okay, Adoree Jackson and Nick McCloud. So it's it's tough. It's tough. Then the Giants they brought in. So I mean, this is just once again what do we got? 6'6". Yeah. Oh yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's good. Now they brought in Yadni. I think it's Kajust. I think, right? Offensive tackle. They'll be working out Yadni Kajust on Tuesday as they work to add depth to their offensive line. Okay, so that was a 3rd-round pick. So, right, but I mean, if you're tackling the 3rd round, that doesn't mean it certainly doesn't mean you can't play in this league. He missed 2 seasons with injuries. 2019 and 2020, he missed with injuries. Okay, but the past 2 seasons, he has played. Let's see. He lined up primarily as a right tackle for New England last season, surrendering 3 sacks and 12 pressures on 197 total snaps. So let me see if I got PFF pulled up here. I mean, West Virginia, his grades aren't bad. Obviously, senior season, he graded out a 78.4 overall. They played against Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, Texas, Baylor, Texas Tech, K-State, Tennessee. So I mean, he had some nice numbers in college. His pass blocking grade his senior season was a 78.6. His junior season, his pass blocking grade was at 82.4. Okay, he's 6'5", 310. He's got some length in the arms. Okay, but as I said, he only played in his past 2 seasons. He played 19 and 20. He was injured. So this past season in 2022, what do we got here? He graded out a 65.7. He had 117 pass blocking snaps. He, according to here, he had 9 hurries. He gave up 3 sacks. So he had 12 pressures altogether. Okay, in 117 pass blocking snaps. So that's not ideal. Because if you're giving up, in 117 snaps. You're giving up 12 pressures. So basically like roughly one out of every 10 pass, you're giving up a pressure, whether it's a hit, a sack, or whatever. So if we drop back 40, say 30, just say 30 times a game. He's going to give up 3. That's, could be better. I mean, once again, one of the reasons why, he's a free agent. So, but he's going to, it's going to be evolving. I mean, I said, with we got Parrott, I mean, Tyree Phillips, Devery Hamilton, Parrott, Corey Cunningham. You know what I mean? So, I mean, you're going to bring him in and see what he can do. But once again, I mean, if you read the article or whatever, don't get overly excited about him. Right? I mean, there's a lot of guys out like that out there. So, but bringing him in, but doesn't also mean that they're signing him either. So, but they're going to try to say. And then finally, I saw that they passed the flexing. There was eight teams for Thursday night, the flexing. NFL owners approved Thursday night flex scheduling. There are some conditions, but still the concept stinks for the fans. Yep. And that's the problem. There is a 28-day notice of the pending change. Teams must be also given at least 28 days of notice, I guess, of a pending change. Okay. But it only apply for weeks 13 to 17. Okay. There are, however, some limitations. NFL owners approved a modified proposal for flexing Thursday night football games to ensure Amazon, which want to make sure they're happy. Unfortunately, that's the problem. Is that as I said, I'm an old time fart and all that. So, but unfortunately, the more it's about the money, the more inconvenient it winds up being. So, but the more you make it about Amazon, who pays the money, you want to keep them happy, right? It's just becomes more and more inconvenient. Swing tackle competition. Oh yeah, we're gonna have a bunch of guys in there. Now this is Parrott's last year, right? Because he came in 2020. So unfortunately, I mean, there's some guys that they just seem to get injured a lot, and you just never. So we'll have to wait and see. But he's been around. We got Corey Cunningham. He's been around. Devery Hamilton's been around a little bit, so on our team. So we'll have to wait and see. But let's see. There are some limitations in the flex scheduling for Thursday night games. First, it will only apply to weeks 13 to 17. Okay, so that's good. And there will be a maximum of 2 games flexed per season. Teams must also be given at least 28 days notice of pending change. So owners opposing Thursday night flexing schedule raised a variety of concerns, including travel logistics, and impact of fans, which is what Mr. Mara, he's concerned about the fans. He don't give a rat's rear end about Amazon making them happy. He's concerned about the people that actually go out of the way to pay money to put their rear ends in the seat, okay, that buy the $3,000 beer, the $800 hot dog, and all that stuff, and that pay out $3,000 to park the vehicle at the stadium and whatever they spend on a ticket and all. I mean, so he's more concerned about the fans. Okay. Says, but owners voted it through, opening the possibility Amazon's Thursday night schedule could shift once or twice late in the season. Okay, so it's only possibly 2 days, according to good old Adam Schefter. Hi, I'm Adam Schefter. I got a breaking news here. I'm Adam Schefter. A vote of 24-8 passed the resolution. The 8 teams against the proposal being the Giants, the Jets, Packers, the Bears, the Raiders, the Lions, the Bengals, and the Steelers. So, Albert Breer reported that Denver and Carolina, both of whom abstained from the vote in March, voted in favor this time around. So I'm not sure what changed their mind, but Giants co-owner John Mara openly spoke out against the concept back in late March during the league's annual meeting. So he said, Mr. Mara said, I am adamantly opposed to that, Mara told reporters. Flexible scheduling as it is inconsiderate to our season ticket holders. Yes, it is. And the people who fill our stadiums every week. Yes, it is. I mean, it's like, you don't, the people go out of their way to come to the game. You don't understand what some of these people, some of them, have to take days off from work, right? Some of them, obviously maybe scheduling a flight, right? Booking a hotel room, right? Getting tickets, all this stuff, they go and you're shelling, you could easily shell if it depends upon how you want to go. I mean, some people can go real nice and cheap and all of that, but when I go, unfortunately, well, it's not. It's my time spent with my son. My son's a Cowboy fan, right? So instead of I go to usually one game a season. We're probably going to go with the Cowboys this year. It's unless it gets flexed. Right? It's supposed to be Christmas Eve, December 24th. The Cowboys are playing in Miami. Okay, so it basically for me, I get to spend time with my son. We want to spend a couple of days, but we got to book a flight. We got to get 2 tickets to fly to Miami. I got to buy the tickets. And now the one nice thing is that you buy the ticket to the game. It doesn't matter when the game is. If you got a ticket to the game, you got a ticket to the game. It doesn't matter if it's Sunday or Thursday. You don't have to buy the Thursday ticket. You don't have to buy it. It's a ticket's a ticket. So that's cool. But the flight. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to book a flight, I want to be there the 23rd of December and I want to leave the 25th of December. Well, if they flex it to Thursday, well, now I have to change it to, the day before Thursday and to come home the Friday after Thursday. I mean, Friday after the game, right? It's the same thing with the hotel. You got to change the hotel reservations. It's just very, very inconvenient. But I mean, I go to a game a year. But I mean, for us to fly to Miami, I think my son saw it was like $400 or $500 per ticket. Okay. You have to book a hotel room. We haven't looked at that yet, but that could be, if you're there for 2 days or so, whatever. I mean, that could be obviously a couple $100, $300-$400. Depends upon where you stay. I mean, if you stay up in the New York area, if you stay up by Boston and stuff, it could be rather expensive. And the tickets, I mean, you can buy tickets, it could cost you $200-$300 a ticket. I mean, one time, my son and I, we went to, we wound up seeing the Cowboys play Tom Brady back-to-back years. We saw him play in New England. We saw the Cowboys play in New England when Brady was there. The following season, or 2 seasons later, I think it was, we saw Tom Brady in Tampa Bay. Okay. But the one time that we were with the Cowboys we went to New England, we were like 10 rows from the top of the stadium at the 50-yard line. We were like right on the 50-yard line, but 10 rows from the top of the stadium. There's on StubHub. I think it was StubHub or Ticketmaster. It was over $1,000 for 2 tickets. That's with their fees and all that stuff. So I mean, you could possibly spend easily, $1,000, $2,000, whatever, just to see one game. And this is the one thing that Mr. Mara is talking about, is that, they don't much care. It's all about, keeping Amazon happy, as Mr. Mara says here, flexible scheduling as it is inconsiderate to our season ticket holders and the people who fill our stadiums every week. People have gotten used to going from Sunday afternoon to Sunday night when a game is flexed. That doesn't mean that they like it. This year, we can be flexed to Monday night, which I think is inconsiderate to our ticket holders. Absolutely. But to flex a game back to Thursday night, to me, is just abusive, Mr. Mara said, and I am adamantly opposed to it, which is true, After the vote passed Monday, Mara wasn't backing down from his stance, telling the NFL Network's Judy Battista, "I'm disappointed, but certainly not surprised." Yeah, I mean, it is. It says, so now any fan planning a trip to a Sunday game in weeks 13 to 7 has to be prepared for the possibility that the game could be moved to Thursday. So that's what I'm referring to, is that my son and I, we're going to the Cowboys and the Dolphins. Now, the Cowboys and the Dolphins, that's a game that could be played. I'm not sure what week that is, whatever week the Christmas is maybe that's week 16, maybe. Maybe there's 2 games after that, I think there is. So there's a possibility that the game that we have on Christmas Eve could possibly be flexed back to Thursday. So, now all of a sudden, now my airline tickets got to be changed. The hotel reservations have to be changed. We have the tickets, but it doesn't bother me so much. But now my son, his job, where now he has to, because we were going to be there Saturday. Okay, get there Saturday, watch the game on Sunday. He's off on the weekends. And then he has Christmas, where he works at, he has off on Christmas. So he'll be home Christmas. So Saturday, Sunday, and Christmas, he doesn't have to take any days off, right? Now, if it gets flexed back to Thursday, now we got to leave Wednesday. He has to take a day off. Thursday, he's got to take a day off. And Friday, he's got to take it. So now he's going to, initially, we're looking at Saturday, Sunday, Monday, where he doesn't have to take any days off, lose any money, right? To going back to maybe being flexed back to the Thursday, where he has to take 3 days off and lose 3 days pay. So he's got to lose 3 days pay, possibly. And I said, Miami, hey, with their wide receivers they got, right? If Tua, they had a nice year last year, right? So there's a possibility. And with the Cowboys, they're doing well. That's again that could be flexed. So we got to be, me and my son, we got to be prepared to, to have it flexed on us, right? Let's see here. Let's see. So now any fan playing on a Sunday game, weeks 13, has to be prepared for a possibility the game could be moved back to Thursday. That's such an inconvenience to impose on people. Moving kickoff by 7 hours is one thing. Moving it from like 1 o'clock to 8 o'clock, that's one thing, okay? Moving a kickoff by 72 hours is quite another, which is absolutely. And this too. I saw this, which which doesn't help the 49ers out much, but it's going forward. If this should ever happen ever again, I like this is a good idea. I do like this a lot. Okay. In other league news, let's see. Rule changes. The league also approved the return of teams playing an emergency quarterback from the inactive list if the first 2 are injured during a game, a decision inspired by the 49ers quarterback challenge in the NFC Championship game, which the 49ers lost 2 of their quarterbacks to injury. The third quarterback designation will not count against the limit of active players determined 90 minutes before kickoff. So that's good. Also, a proposal to allow for fair catches inside the 25-yard line to be ruled as touchbacks. Wow. With the ball then being spotted at the 25 was tabled. Okay, so it was tabled. So that wasn't approved or nothing like that. But so that was good. Unfortunately, it didn't help the 49ers out last year, and it just made for very bad football, especially if you despise the Eagles. Ooh. But you know what? If it would have happened to the Eagles, oh my God, it would have been, that's all the fans would have said. That's the way they are around here. But they got theirs. They lost in the Super Bowl. So I was happier the Eagles lost in the Super Bowl than the Kansas City Chiefs were, who actually won. I was happier than they were. Happy. Oh, yeah. So, but unfortunately, it didn't help the 49ers out. But at least now, if we get, a game, you'll have a third emergency. And now, if that guy gets injured, well, you're pretty much screwed then. But at least if you got your 2 guys get injured, okay, you still have a third quarterback that you can bring in and at least continue the game. Now, you're not going to have, your third quarterback may not be, Tom Brady, but, at least he'll be somebody who can at least run the offense. And it certainly doesn't mean you're going to win a football game, but at least it's, I guess, if you're a good team like the 49ers, they find ways. Shanahan's a very good coach. He'd find ways maybe to, to at least maybe keep it close. But that was some tough watching last year. But I'm glad they approved that. All right, guys. Well, Terrence, as always, buddy, good talking to you, pal. It's been 44 minutes. Anybody spent any time watching me at all, I greatly appreciate it. Or if anybody spends any time watching a replay, this once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, guys. I can use all the support I get. Thank you. As always, you guys stay safe out there and go Giants. Woo! Oh, yeah.